Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Downtime in the Ring. Before we get started with anything, we have a little cleaning we need to do. First off, shout out to TZ's Table. We love Montezi. Thank you, Mentor, for taking good care of us and guiding us through this crazy journey of professional wrestling and podcasting because we did not think that it was going to be as crazy as it was. Hashtag tag me in if you guys are ever feeling down, if you guys are ever feeling worried, if you guys need to talk, remember to use the hashtag tag me in. Our DMs are open. You can head over to Paragon LLC on Facebook and also reach out there. We love you guys. We want to work on mental health and we want to make sure that you guys are perfectly safe. And this is a perfect place to talk. Now, our biggest supporter, WSN. We want to thank them for making us the number one and official podcast of the Wrestling Society network streaming service on Roku, on Amazon Fire Stick, and on Apple TV. You guys can go check them out. You guys will see us every single Saturday. You guys can see us every Thursday on Kick, on YouTube, on Facebook, probably on Twitter here soon, on our lives where we go and we just enjoy each other's company, talk, and go over everything professional wrestling. But this week, I'm going to shoot it over to Chris. Chris has a very interesting entrance for our guest.
Yes, I do. For our guest today, we currently have the current Eclipse Heavyweight Champion, the current Pit Fight Champion, the two PW Tag Champion, a two-time RWA Heavyweight Champion with a current cumulative total of 1,798 days, an ordained reverend and the only other reverend other than Devon to be asked by Devon to get the tables. PWI 500, number 458, the savior of pro wrestling and VP and COO of Shane Taylor Promotions, the Rev Ron Hunt.
Man, that's a heck of an intro. I did not pay you for that, but I'll be putting you the check in the mail for that one, man. That's a good. Hey, you might get a job as my personal ring announcer after that one.
Oh, please, please.
Well,
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. I know it's been really hectic, especially because everybody's getting off that crazy mania season, traveling, trying to get to
Yeah.
promotions, do all this kind of stuff for professional wrestling. How are you feeling? How'd you enjoy Mania Week?
Listen, honestly, I like that. I think it's always a great time. With Mania Week, I think you're just surrounded no matter what city it's in. WrestleMania season and the love for professional wrestling as a whole takes over. Independent scene, multiple other television promotions, and then of course with World Wrestling Entertainment right now, what's happening. It's always a great time of the year. I think it's a time that whether you're a fan, whether you're a wrestler or someone that works in general with the industry, a time that sometimes you might get burned out a little bit with traveling, especially from the other side of things. It just reminds you of your love for it and how the sport of professional wrestling can bring everyone together. So for me, I loved it as a whole, looking in particular down to those 2 days, WrestleMania Night 1, WrestleMania Night 2, storytelling perspective from both sides of things, from both days of it. And I really see the art of professional wrestling, the sport of it, continuing to grow in popularity from here on.
I agree. I agree. So, one thing that I wanted to talk to you about as we get into your career, as we get into everything that the Rev is, because I love it. I love doing my research on you, is that Eclipse Championship. Where is Eclipse Wrestling?
Yes. So the Eclipse is located right outside of Altoona, PA, and Johnstown, PA. We actually alternate months, and we go back and forth, so both cities can get a love of it, and then they can also come together and visit the other city. They just merged as 814 Wrestling. So before it was Eclipse Pro Wrestling, and then we had a company that was called AON Wrestling. And believe it or not, we had a show once a year. It was called War for Territory. So whatever company won out the matches for that whole night, they then gained the other prospective territory. So that's right now where we have them. Still the Eclipse Heavyweight Champion, the longest reigning champion. We're trying to push that 1,000-day mark right there. And we're going to keep it going, man. But, yeah, we're located about, I want to say about an hour 15 outside of downtown Pittsburgh.
When I saw it, immediately I got just the beauty and the creativeness of like the IWGP title. I was in
Yes.
love with it. It's so pretty, man. And I don't say that a lot about titles, but that one is I was like, man, I want it. I want to
Listen,
hang it up.
believe it or not, that baby girl goes with me almost all over the place. And I will tell you, that's one of the heaviest son of a guns that I have. And honestly, and that was the thing when they recreated it, when they had the old one, and then they remodeled. Number one, I'm the first champion to ever hold that one. So the very first nameplate on there is mine. So once if that time ever comes, I'm going right onto that side plate right there, the very first name on the top of that side plate. And I think that was really the perspective of it. I think being encouraged by everything that's happening with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and really letting people know that, listen, just because you fall under the form of independent wrestling and independent professional wrestling doesn't mean you have to treat it like the independents. You make it as big as it can be. And one of my perspectives is, I always say, the title doesn't make the man or the man or the woman makes the title. And so it's really about what height you want to take it to. And we're taking it to new heights each and every match, each and every win, and taking it to new records every time, baby.
I love it. I love it so much. I got to, we do our deep dives trying to go into your career. And for a lot of people, they may not know who you are. So introduce yourself a little bit. How long have you been wrestling?
Absolutely. 12 and a half years. 12 and a half years. So it's been a long time, believe it or not. Started right at 18 or so you can do the math right there, and really been kicking it off ever since. And really just diving in and seeing what I can do my part. So you're talking about being a serious professional wrestling, man. I take that really to heart, both from a fan perspective. I think the sport of pro wrestling, the way that I got into it is, it was my area of escape. Growing up, as a young kid and watching WCW, I connected very closely to Eddie Guerrero, and something about him that was able to just captivize you, and really draw you in. Whether you met him or you never met him a day before in your life, but when you watched him, something about him, he had an aura that really drew you into him. And once I saw his match, it was him versus Chavo Guerrero, Bash at the Beach. I want to say that was a WCW Bash at the Beach '98 or so. It was a loser had to get their haircut match. It was off to the races since then. I said, I need to do this. And, that same mindset I kept, even being a performer 12 and a half years later, of saying, if I could just do my part of gravitating people in and letting them forget about the outside world, allowing my art and the way that I perceive my art to be an escape for them, then I've done my due diligence within this sport. And that's really what's been carrying me on for about well over a decade now.
And especially with that drive to go, you went to, at the beginning of your career, you went to Alpha and Hawaii's wrestling school, and
Yeah,
you touted it as being one of the most intense wrestling schools, but the most learning experience out of your entire career. Can you elaborate more on that?
Absolutely. So first of all, big shout out to Pops Alpha in Hawaii, WXW, Wasmon Pro Wrestling Training Center. I'm a product of the school, 2011. And it was one of those things that, when you're looking at a legend like him, and many of you know, the Samoan lineage is very big. He is one of the cornerstones of the literal bloodline of that. So you look at the Usos, you look at Roman Reigns, you look at Solo Sikoa, The Rock, so many that go on have stem and have groundwork from the rich Samoan Anuai blood. Alpha Jr., formerly known as Manu, that was with Legacy. All of that. That's the son of Alpha. And so when you look at that, first of all, you have to be humbled by that. There's a lot of knowledge that comes from that directly from Alpha, but then also from the people that is connected, that's willing to lend themselves and lend their knowledge to you. But at the same time, that's not going to come easy, because if you're able to see the light of day, now you have their name stamped on you as the seal of approval, and they do not take that light. So it was one of the difficult things I've been through. But I say that each and every time you're stripped down, you're being brought up and you're made, and your character is being sought, your character is being made ever since then. And I would tell you that was one of the most difficult things I've done. Baseball, basketball, football, played football for 17 years total before I was fully done with it. Pro wrestling has been the hardest thing by far. By all means, it's been the hardest thing. But at the same time, it's been the most rewarding thing, and that's what I really try to tell people: you get out of it as much as you put into it. And so for me, I said, I'll be doggone if I went through all this. I was able to sit under a learning tree of so many, and not put what I've gained and the knowledge that I've experienced to great use, but then also pay it forward for the next generation, the next batch of stars that are coming forth. So definitely was a grueling process, man. You're talking about day in and day out. You're waking up, you're running miles, you're getting beat up, you're getting slammed, you're getting, aches in your back, rope burns, your neck is stiff and everything. And to just wake up the next morning saying, we're going to do this again, just like we never stopped. And that's the name of the game within pro wrestling.
Yep.
Are you familiar with a gentleman that goes by the name of Chico Adams? Because he is a big advocate for. You are okay.
Yes.
That is a former guest of ours. That was a very short episode that we had. A very good interview. He's a really good guy. But once you started talking about WXW, I was like, oh, I wonder how
Yes.
small the world of professional wrestling is. Because I always
Pro
say it's
pro
big,
wrestling
it's
is
small,
so
and big.
small, man. It's big, small, all at the same time. So, but yeah, Chico. Yeah, I smiled. I haven't heard Chico's name in a little bit of time, man. But then it comes back just like normal. So, but yeah, WXW right in Florida, previously in Pennsylvania. They got their grassroots from Pennsylvania. Alpha Anoa'i Senior's son, Samu, hair shrinker Samu. He runs WXWC4. That was a product that helped bring up Ace Austin, who's part of the Bullet Club that you see with TNA Wrestling right now. So you look, there's so much rich lineage. There's so much rich lineage. And so I think anyone that comes from that lineage is able to sit under the learning tree. You consider yourself family, just being able to have that honor and really be able to talk about going through some of the same struggles, overachieving it, and being able to now pay it forward and being a shining product for the next generation to come. So all respects to WXW and Wild Simone Pro Wrestling Training Center.
So, what is your relationship with our mentor, the guy I love this man is Montezi? What's your relationship with him, man? Because I see like this group that you guys have, and I'm like, man, this is a bad group right here.
Montezi is a very good brother of mine. We're talking about from day one. We're grassroots. Even when he made Heart of a Warrior with Roman Reigns, years. I want to say we're pushing a decade, if not close to a decade already, if we're not surpassing it. He's a go-getter. He's a grinder. He's one that follows his dreams no matter what. He gets after it by any means necessary. Doesn't leave any room on the table, and has a love for the sport and wants to do his part in transcending the sport through his love and passion of music. And now you add on podcasting and so many other things, and then really grooming that into a well-oiled machine all into one. I've supported him since day one. He's done every single one of my theme songs. He did my original one. He did the original Shane Taylor theme song, I'm Different, which was the original Shane Taylor Promotions theme song. He's done the current Shane Taylor Promotions theme song. He's done O'Shea Edwards' theme song. He's done Khan and Moses when they were a tag team. So everything that has surrounded the original Shane Taylor Promotions all the way up to the current Shane Taylor Promotions has had a touch of Montezi in it. And it's not by any shape of imagination. It's because real recognizes real. And you understand when you have a pioneer, you have a growing mogul that's within this industry, and you have a person that really is pouring his heart into his craft. And you got to be able to respect that and be able to support that. So, our goal is, we always say we're our brother's keeper. So we can use our gift to help exploit somebody else's gift and help your family grow with you. That's the name of the game, man. So Montez is like a brother to all of us, including myself.
And it's funny that you mentioned brotherhood. While kind of doing a dive into here, I stumbled upon a documentary that I watched by J. Shell Nicole, Wrestling with Whiteness, and you had a great take about brotherhood in her documentary about how she had seen you working out with them and you're establishing that community and how it relates to the wrestling industry in terms of people of color, as far as like how you guys are coming together, and especially now, especially with Shane Taylor Promotions, especially with Swerve and Montezi, and even with like back with the New Day and stuff like that, you see that culmination, that growing together. I absolutely love it. So
No, and that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, you want someone to not only, clearly what we do in front of a TV product is, it is what it is. It is a product that we're trying to bring into households. But at the end of the day, it's really a brotherhood,
Mhm.
and when you look at the different struggles, not only are we talking wrestling, we're checking on each other consistently. There's not a single day that our group chat doesn't go dry. We're always checking on each other's mental health. How's your family doing? How's your mom doing? How's your wife doing? How are you doing just in general? Anything going on outside of wrestling? And when you really have a community that holds you accountable for different things, or you have a community that is willing to help support you in different struggles and different obstacles and bring you up and remind you of the worth that's within you, then you're able to fortunately see that transcend through the television screen. And sometimes people don't know what exactly it is, and they say, "Listen, something about them is different," but you might not know it then, but we know it deep down inside that you're really just seeing the cohesiveness and the family and the unity and the bond that we've already built when the cameras are not running. You're just seeing it transcend and grow now on camera. And so it's a beautiful thing to have that brotherhood.
Oh, I love that, man. That's awesome. That goes with our mental health. Hashtag tag me in. If you guys ever need to talk about anything, you can reach out to any of us. We'd love to help you. We love to make sure that you guys know that this is a safe place because mental health is very important. So thank you. Thank you. You did our little
I didn't
pitch
even know
right
I
there.
did the plug. I didn't even know I did the plug. So
Love it. Love it so much. So you've had an amazing career. You have a bunch of accolades. Do you ever just stand around and think, wow, this is my life? Do you ever just
you
smell the roses?
Yeah, I really try not to because, but believe it or not, I think a go getter, you're always hungry and want to know how to take things to the next level. But I do say that there have been those times where you just got to sit back and take a breather, and then realize, just of considering it a dream to now being able to do it as a lifelong career and seeing people that have the same dream as you based on seeing you, so really being on the other perspective of things. I think more from a humbling perspective and not from an excited, but really from a humbling perspective. And then you got to slowly transition. You really can't sit in it because you really have to think, okay, well, what's next, well, what's next, well, what's next. And I'll often say, a dying dream is a dying vision. And so, our vision is always to take us to that next level. And if we just sit and think about, oh man, I can't believe this dream come true, that's a half a second that someone else is slowly moving along. So I always say that there's room for progression, but it definitely is really humbling. I tell you where it is, in spite of all the things and the TV cameras running and everything toward that extent, the most exciting that really has me sit back is when I'm able to do intermission, or when I'm able to talk to fans before I get to an arena or after I get to an arena, and just to really be able to hear their story. I think we get so used to once the light goes and talking to producers and different things, you get used to kind of going in that rhythm, but the true humbleness of it is really being able to talk to people and hear their story about how you've been able to help them. And some of them are traveling near and far, but they all have the perspective of, hey, I just want to say thank you. This is how you help me. Or some of them come with gifts. I've had some that have got tattoos of different quotes that I've made over the years. My signature that I've signed on a piece of paper or a picture, and then they get it on their arm or their shoulder or something. So really be able to make that connection with the fan base, that has been the most humbling, that you really have to sit back and say, you really took things to that next level. And now how can you make an even bigger impact the next go around when you look a year past now?
I enjoy that because for a lot of younger wrestlers, and I believe Matt Cardona said this, is that they don't take the time before the show to actually approach the fans, to talk to the fans. Barely do they do it in intermission, and only is to sell t-shirts. While you've already done this a decade plus, for a fact that you wouldn't be at this part without the fans. And so it's heartwarming to hear that because I still see it at independent promotions that I go to. I mean, I'm 26, Chris is 28. So I get to see from what I consider 25 and under. are just the younger kids, and
Yeah.
they don't care. They want that spotlight, but I'm like, pro wrestling's more than that. I mean, even in a podcast, it's the fact that now you're going to reach an audience that may have not known who you were, and
Absolutely.
we're going to love to push this out because this is already a fun talk as it is. But what would you say to any wrestlers who are starting out or who are only like 3 to 5 years in the business?
Yeah, I would definitely say don't forget the why. Don't forget the why. It's easy to get burned out in this industry, especially kind of starting off. So much give there's so much give that you produce in this industry, and very less that you receive right off the jump. There's a lot of giving of your body, there's a lot of giving of your time, there's a lot of giving of your energy, of your money. There's so much give that you have to give and give, and hope at some point in time that you're able to receive something back that counterbalances things back out. And I would often tell you with me, I just always had to focus on the why. Why are you doing this? What made you decide, hey, on this particular day, I want to try to be a professional wrestler? What do you want to gain out of it? Why are you pursuing this? What's the bigger picture? And I think when you really look at that, that's what's really going to keep you thriving. And what I try to tell people is stay focused. The same sacrifices that sometimes you might scratch your head and say, ah, man, I don't know if I can do this, is the same sacrifice many and many and many of greats have been through. I mean, The Rock will tell you himself, he was wrestling in car lot parking lots, making only $40 a night. And now look where he's at, the final boss of the biggest company that's out there right now, respectfully. When you look at it, it's all about how much you're willing to put out there. But what will keep you going is you always remembering the why of it. So keep your mind focused. Even if you can for a moment, be selfish in your goals and in your dreams. Know you didn't come this far just to come this far, but also don't let your own time, energy, and sacrifices go to vain. Go at it full throttle. Don't do anything half behind, and get after it. And let's see you on the other side of things.
That's a TikTok right there. I'm excited
Yeah,
about
hey, I was thinking of it too. I said, man, that's pretty good.
teaching us promo class right here.
Hey, that's the truth of it, man. That's the truth of it, man. You just always remember your why, and get after it by any means necessary. I think I've seen so many people that had so much great potential that they started really really strong, and for some reason they faded off, they slacked off, and now some of them aren't even in the industry. And you're like, man, in like 3 to 5 years, they could have been making 6 7 figures and on TV on a weekly basis, but something about it, they couldn't stick to that consistency. So I often tell people, hard work, selfishness, and consistency breed success. Hard work, selfishness, and consistency always will breed success.
I think it's from the fact that it gets uncomfortable, it gets scary because nobody wants to be known as the person that is selfish, and if they are, there's always that stigma that you're a bad person if you are selfish. Going into the fact that consistency, you have to beat yourself to make yourself better, which a lot of people don't want to do. They don't want to go every single day to the gym or take bumps, or they don't want to work on their social media. I get so mad at this. We are the generation.
Social media is free.
Yes.
Social media is free. It's the best commercial that you can ever make. We're not even asking you to get your stuff on a DVD or to cut a tape and hand it over to people. We're just asking you to get on social media and build your brand. And I think a lot of people fail to understand a wrestling promo. A promo is short for promotional. So if you can't promote yourself, if you cannot have a promotional about yourself, then what are you doing for your own brand? And trust me, we're on the same page, though. We're on the same page.
We need to have like a round table because there's like a bunch of people that agree, and they are nowhere near our age, except you. You are, because you're 30. And I'm like, guys, how are there 22-year-olds that can't make a single promo or post a poster? And then there's these gentlemen who are in the later years of their career, except you're in the middle, and you guys posting every day. Matt Cardona's the greatest. I want to say, that's my opinion, Matt Cardona's the greatest one to do it. He posts like 17 times a day, everything you could possibly do. And that man, we grew up on that man. I'm like, oh, it makes me so angry. This is my soapbox.
It's so easy to do this. Some people do, and once again, it goes back to you got to want it, and you have to be consistent in wanting it. And I think that's why a lot of times people get upset when they see these quote overnight celebrities. It's not overnight. They've been grinding in the trenches for a good amount of time. It's just finally when it's fully recognized based on their consistency. And now you see them. Where the heck did they come from? They've been grinding consistency. So selfishness and consistency will always breed success.
Oh, this is awesome. Finally. Maybe if they don't listen to me, they'll listen to this episode and they'll go, huh, I got a great idea. Maybe I should promote my brand more.
Maybe.
At least it'll work. At least it'll work. At least that will work. That's all that matters.
It will always work. It will always work. What I try to tell people is, no matter what you decide to do, no matter how things look, and promoters and bookers and agents and producers and whatever it must be, owners of companies, the fans are the biggest bosses. If they know that this arena is getting packed out and the floors are rumbling because they're talking about you, guess what? They're going to keep bringing you back. But people are not going to know about you until you put yourself out there. It's that simple.
Yep.
The Rev said it. I didn't. He said it. I'm just going to say that now.
I'm just preaching, man.
The Rev is preaching.
I'm letting you. I'm going to let you do it because, man, if anybody takes anything away from that, it's that whole segment right there. That's all that really matters. Is that piece of advice. We are in 2024. This is not the old days. Nobody needs to go to Blockbuster to find your tapes to figure out if you're good. You can do it on Facebook for free. I love it. So, how did you become part of Shane Taylor Promotion? That was my biggest question. That is the one thing that I have seen all over your social media, and I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, it first started, I had a couple of tryouts with them. I want to say this is probably like 2017, 2018 or so. And it was I had a few, and it was one of those that you got to keep coming back. They seen some things that they liked. I had another opportunity to go back and show some of the fine toothness of it. And first of all, big shout out to Prince Nana, Caprice Coleman, Shane Taylor himself. Those are three of the biggest people at that time that really showed a lot into me. And all of them I consider brothers even to now. All of them, I will tell you, not even a month or two goes by. Shane I talk to every single day. Caprice I talk to at least every other week. Prince Nana, I hit him up bare minimum a couple of times a month. So all of them are great brothers of mine. But I will tell you where it came from is really just recognizing that hunger, and just being able to talk to Shane at a few shows and really seeing his mindset and where he thought his original run, his singles run was with Ring of Honor, and him seeing where my hunger was and everything like that, and really being able to look at life and be like, we see so many similarities. How in the world can we now come together and get our story out there collectively? And as you see now, Shane is dominating, completely dominating the game. And, at that time we said there could be more light on him. And so he said, listen, I want to try to take things into my own hands and not really work under the company, but work side by side the company and have more control of my direction in a way and my projection on how I'm getting my story out there. And from then on, we partnered up. And what a lot of people don't know, some people know, but a lot of people don't know, is outside of Shane himself, I mean, Shane Taylor Promotions, I am the very first connected to Shane. It was us two that formed Shane Taylor Promotions based on Shane's leadership, which now goes by why I'm the Vice President Chief of Operations since the beginning and the inception of it in 2019. And so really to be able to build the brand, to first make sure that Shane's vision and his mindset on where he thought things should be was taken care of. But then everyone that knows Shane knows that he's a giver. He also, like myself, had the same mindset of saying, okay, it's cool to be able to grow and lead on your own, but it's even better to now use your platform and build others that are going through some of the same stuff that you might go through, that look just like you, that are representing just like you, and to now help shine a light and grow the culture as a whole and expose the culture as a whole to eyes that may have not even known about a person. And then then we add on Khan and Moses. You know, currently when they were tag teaming, they were previously tag teaming as the Soldiers of Savagery. When they initially signed with Ring of Honor. And then shortly after that, we signed O'Shea Edwards, who's another dominant force. He just came off of a UK tour. Khan right now is respectfully doing his thing with AEW, dominating it, as we all know he can. Moses is doing his thing, dominating it, and then also now working on his acting career within the movie scene. He's living in Georgia. Everyone is winning, and that was the main thing that we wanted. And then now taking it to the next level, Lee Moriarty, Anthony Agogo, tremendous. And so that's been the whole mindset of it. But it all started with the dream of Shane wanting to take control of the direction of it. Us seeing that we had the same vision, we had the same hunger for this industry, and we wanted to do justice. And I say now we're definitely seeing Shane Taylor Promotions have due justice.
That's awesome, man. That's exciting. I love it. I love y'all's mentality, because even when I'm able to talk to them on TZ, I usually hit him up about every few days. Really, I try not to bug him because I feel like I do, but we'll go into just huge conversations. I can see that passion and that where you guys want to help the next generation, because you guys know that whatever we do, we're going to obviously give you your flowers, because you guys helped us get here. And that's what I take from it. Is I love it. I love the way that the older generation isn't bitter or gatekeeping. You guys want everybody to grow. This is awesome, dude. Like, even now, I'm just sitting back and I'm like, man, I'm having this conversation about
That's an honor.
Shane Taylor Promotions. Oh, dude, because I'm more Ring of Honor than Chris is. So
Yeah.
wait, Chris. So I'm more Ring of Honor than Chris is. So, you know, just realizing how all of this came to be, even through the pandemic, when, you know, Ring of Honor was on the side and everything like that, it's still amazing to see that no matter what, you guys are still thriving. The fact that you know, talk to Shane Taylor all the time, the fact that no matter this crazy business of professional wrestling, you guys still have that brotherhood. It's awesome, dude. It really is, man.
Absolutely. And you know, the way that we look at it is, you know, if one wins, we all win. That's how it goes. If one wins, we all win. A win for you is a win for all of us. And I think that's really what separates, you know, things that are machine made and those that natural. I mean, this business can be very unforgiving and very selfish, based on those that you really just want to see people dominate, and you really just want to see people win. And you know, and that's what it's been like since day one. And so, you know, certain things that, you know, people might not know, we might have a little inkling of it, or certain things it's like, hey, what do you think about this? How can we tweak this? It gets tweaked. You see certain things happening. You know, I just did that with them myself. Hey, how do we tweak this? You know, we get some insight, and that's what it's all about, man. Really just growing with each other. And we all heard the quote, "A rising tide lifts all sails." That's really what it's about. If we can all rise together, we can transcend the sport of professional wrestling as a whole. And that's what we're here to do. Transcend the sport of professional wrestling.
Well, you have another teammate in us. If you're ever pushing anything else, let me know. I will share it as much as I can, because I want to see all of you guys thrive. This is awesome. Chris, you got anything for our guests?
I want to kind of talk about your status as a reverend and stuff, because as I was kind of going through seeing your career and other interviews, you made a great analogy and about faith being the fundamental thing that all humans believe in, regardless of whether you believe in a higher power and stuff like that. You always have faith to get up in the morning, take a couple steps, and just keep moving forward. And you have said previously that you called yourself a hope dealer.
Yeah.
Having worked at the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank and stuff as a community education specialist and stuff like that. And I was kind of curious, like, how do you intertwine like your teachings as a reverend into applying that into the locker room of a indie promotion that you're working at a given time? Or like, let's say that you see a younger wrestler kind of having a battle within himself and stuff, and he's maybe on the agnostic side, as such as myself, where it's like, hey, I don't know exactly what to believe in. I feeling down. How do you kind of like navigate that kind of thing and bring out that your other abilities outside of wrestling into that locker room?
That, you know what? That's a phenomenal question. I believe that's the first time I've ever got asked that question. I'm actually grateful, because I mean, there's always real life applications to that. And and you brought up a great point. You know, what I try to tell people is, regardless of your religious affiliations, we all have one thing that we have, regardless of it, and that's faith. When we all lay down in that, or I'm pretty sure when you guys got ready to do this interview with me, you pulled your chair out and you sat down in it. You didn't flip it over and see if all the screws are in it. You just said, because this is what we call a chair, that I could just pull it out and sit on it and it's going to support my weight. You lay down in bed, you don't flip your mattress and your box spring over every night saying, I think this is going to support me while I sleep for 8 hours. You just lay down, or sometimes we just gracefully fall in it and say it's going to support me because it's what's called a bed. And even those small things, believe it or not, is what is operating our faith, because this is what this said it is. This is going to do what I believe it should be able to do. That's what faith is all about. Anything that you cannot prove without a physical vision directly in front of you is using faith. We don't cut our car tank open every time and say, I think there's a full tank in here. We just trust that this little needle is accurate and it has the appropriate gas in it. That's called a faith. And so when you really look at that, we all have at least that we can operate on. And so, my goal is to not really force anything down anyone's throat, but to also let them know, kind of the different struggles that I've been through. And I think that really, for me in particular, I'm a Christian, and I have many other friends that have different other religious beliefs, but we all come from the same common consensus of, we all have respect for one another. And I think when you are able to approach people from a conversation and really just, first of all, just share your life story and just open up and allow people to know, like, listen, Ron, your life's not perfect. I've made this mistake, this mistake, this mistake, but based on how I've had these different opportunities or these different encounters or these different spiritual encounters, here's how I was able to get to this part of my life. And it has not always been that way. I think it's refreshing for people to understand that they're not the only one that's going through something. And at the end of the day, that there is a light of hope at the end of the day. And what I try to tell people is, there's no such thing as failing in life. If you are alive, it's just a life lesson. The only time that you fail is when you give up on yourself. So if you're waking up every day and you're at least trying to put your left foot in front of your right foot in front of your left, the day yesterday is just a life lesson. But the day that you're like, oh, forget all that, then that's when you fail. So my thing is to really just encourage people. Listen, it might be hard, it might be difficult, but one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, until you're able to see it and look back. And what I really try to tell people is, and even if you, Chris Donovan, really look back at it, I give people the 10-year perspective. If they're a little bit younger, hopefully they're not, give them the 5-year perspective. But the 10-year perspective is this. We're in the year 2024. If you take yourself right now in 2024, the man that you are, the person that you are, the character that you are, and you put yourself in what you thought was your worst problem, what you thought was your biggest meltdown in 2014, your 2024 self would laugh at your 2014 problem, which you thought could never get any worse. Because literally, what does not kill you has only made you stronger. And in the last 10 years, every single thing that you've been through has helped build you to be a stronger person than you were from the day before. And that's where you are. So when you really look at that perspective of things, that's really what it's about, is to really instill hope into people. And then when you're able to instill hope into people, it is contagious. It's contagious like a drug, because once you get confident, you instill that hope, and then you realize, wait a second, I was just complaining about that problem. Now I'm on the other side of it. So now you're encouraging yourself. Well, if I got out of that, let me just hang on a little bit further when I'm in this problem. And then you make it out of that problem. We're not promised that there won't be any problems, but we all promise that if we keep putting one foot in front of the other, we're going to eventually get out and see the other side of it. And now that test that we went through is now going to be our testimony for other people to see how they can get out of their same issues.
I see.
I'm getting a tattoo of that. That was amazing. That was awesome.
Believe it or not, that was the tattoo that I was talking about from a quote. I always say you can't spell testimony without first spelling the word test. You cannot spell the word testimony without first spelling the word test, which means everything that you're going through, trouble doesn't last always. And at the end of the day, you're going to make it out. With whatever that particular test is, you're going to make it out. Every past test is a built testimony at the end of the day.
I completely agree with the words of faith that you said, because you had to put in faith in the fact that, you know, we weren't two weirdos on the internet going to ask you what kind of wrestling questions. We don't really do that too much. We don't try to stick on that too much. We want to know about the person, because we can see you in the ring every time you perform, but nobody really gets to know this side of you, and that's what we try to figure out. So thank
Absolutely.
you for
truly appreciate it.
Thank you for your time. As we begin to wind down, where do you see your wrestling career here in about 5 to 10 years?
That's a great question. 5 to 10 years. I honestly see me taking it over, and I think a lot of people say, "Well, wait a second, Ron. You know, you've done a lot of things. You've done a lot of things already. You know, some people know about you. Some people are getting to know about you. My thing is to really, it's time to crank it up. 5 to 10 years from now, you know, I really do see myself, whether that's in the ring, or behind the scenes, having some form of a transitional point of being at that a whole nother spectrum, to where, you know, you can just turn left and turn right and you're going to know the name somewhere in some shape or form. I really do feel like, even though I'm 12 years plus in, still very young in the game, I actually feel like I'm in the best shape of my life right now. I just turned 31 last month, so it's one of those things to where I'm giving it my all. You know, we're cranking it up even further. We're making even bigger sacrifices. We're traveling even further distances. And we're going to let the world know and see what's happening with the state of professional wrestling. And then at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you know, to really take the mindset, the knowledge I've been able to gain and been very fortunate to sit in a learning tree of so many others that came before me, and then now instill that into the next generation. So whether it has to, you know, go with being a producer, somewhere within cinematography or anything, still giving back to the sport of professional wrestling, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take things to the next level. So there's going to be the thumbprint of the Rev Ron Hunt around many places.
Yes, I like that. Okay, so to end this amazing episode, where can everybody find you?
Absolutely. You can find me in Pittsburgh. No, but you can find me on all social media: Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, literally every piece of social media that you have. Just type in at the Rev Ron Hunt. I think it's somewhere around there in the name. At the Rev Ron Hunt, you can find all the social media content right there. And I always tell people, if you ever run into me, I'm not that scary guy. You don't have to feel intimidated. Come up to me. Let's have a conversation. Let's take a picture. Tag me in it. I always like to repost and share the stories of how I meet different people around the world. But you can find me on all social media at the Rev Ron Hunt, and on Pro Wrestling Tees at the Rev Ron Hunt.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this episode of Downtime in the Ring. This is definitely one of the best that we have had in recent time. Great way to continue season 2 of Downtime in the Ring. And we will see you guys in the next episode.